Well, welcome back to the homestead. Today we're out in the garden and we're going to be installing a drip irrigation system. You can see behind me here, I use a back to Eden garden method where you cover the ground with a deep layer of wood chips, and that really helps retain the moisture in the ground. But it's July and we're not getting hardly any rain, and we've got triple digit temperatures, so the garden still needs some supplemental water. So this drip irrigation system I think is going to be just the ticket. So let's go take a look at the supplies that I ordered for that. All right, so the first part of the kit is a pressure reducer. And what this does is it'll take your faucet pressure, which is around 50 or so PSI, and it'll take it down to 15 PSI. This is a low pressure watering system. So the first thing is going to be a pressure reducer. And the next thing I'm going to install is a inline filter. So your water will come in this side. There's a screen in here. It'll flow through the screen, then it'll come out on this end. Since I'm using a well, occasionally you get sediment in there. This screen will prevent that sediment from getting out into the drip tape and clogging it up. And if you happen to get the screens clogged up, you can just pull the bottom piece off right here and flush the trash out and put it back on. So pressure reducer and then an inline filter. And then the next thing is going to be a female adapter to adapt the inline filter over to the hard line for the main trunk. Now when you're punching holes in this main trunk line, occasionally you're going to want to move the lines, or you may get it put in the wrong place. I've got some goof plugs, and that just, if you happen to punch a line in the wrong spot, you can use one of these to pull or plug the hole and then move the line to where you want it.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Then each one of the drip lines that comes off of the main trunk line, I ordered a shutoff valve, so that if you have a row that you don't want to water as much as other rows, like maybe your tomatoes, you don't want to water them as much and get splits, then you can turn a row on or off with one of these. So each row will have a on-off valve. And then this is the tool that you use to push the holes into the main trunk line. This is a sharp edge here, and you just push it into the main trunk line, and it cuts the hole for the plugs to go in. And then on the end of each one of the drip lines, I ordered this type of a plug. There's several different ways. You can fold the line up, run it through a sleeve. There's another kind that you can fold the line up and a plastic deal will slide over it. I ordered these because if you want to, if you get any kind of trash in the line, you can unscrew the end cap there, flush the trash out. Or if you decide you want to extend onto the end of a line, you can just put another drip tape on the end of that. So I went ahead and ordered those for each one of our lines. And then I ordered a bag of clips. I don't know if that's going to show up there or not. These are just metal hairpins, basically, that you can stick over the line and have it go down into the ground to keep it from moving. The next thing here, this is a 500-foot roll of the drip tape. I ordered the 15 mil, which is the heaviest duty, so it should last a little bit longer. This is going to have a hole every 12 inches, and you just cut it to whatever length you want it. And then the last piece is going to be the hose for the main trunk line, and this is just kind of a rigid but fairly thin walled, it's pretty pliable hose. We've got 100 foot of that. We're going to run it out at the top of all the rows, and then the trunk lines will come off of that to go down each row. So let's go ahead and see if we can't roll this out and get started on it. Alright, so starting at the end of the main trunk line, we've got a nice square flush cut, and I'm just going to install this this cap. So the trunk line will go on here, screw this down to seal it, and then this will seal the end of the thing off. If you ever wanted to come back and add on, you could put another hose on the end of this, or you could flush the main line out with it. So I'm going to put this on, and then we'll stake down the end of the line. So we're just going to push it on. And since this hose is laying out in the sun, it's pretty malleable, so it goes on pretty well. And we're going to tighten that up, and that should create a seal at the end of the hose. We'll just lay that down and stake it with one of these hairpins. All right, and then we'll work our way back on the line and start putting the drip tape out. All right, so down each one of the rows, I'm going to run this drip tape, and like I said, the drip tape has an emitter every 12 inches for the water to come out. Now, since I'm running this down the row with plants already in place, I've got to fish it under the plants, and I don't want to get trash in the end of this. So we're going to go ahead and put this plug on the end of the hose before we start to run it. And to do that, we're just going to take the hose, slide it up onto that barb like that, and then you tighten the adapter down on it, and you've got a nice sealed end there. And again, you can uncap it to flush anything out or extend it with another hose if you want to. So let's go ahead and get this fished under the plants now. All right, so now that our drip tape is in, we need to add the shutoff valve to that. So we're just gonna put the shutoff valve where it's gonna be, and we'll kind of mark the drip tape. And you can cut this with pretty much anything. I've got some garden shears here I'm gonna use. Go ahead and cut that. Then we will loosen this nut up on the valve. Slide the end of the tube up into it. Tighten the nut back up. And our valve is on the line now. Now all I have to do is punch a hole into the main tube where I want the valve to go. Push it in and we should be all set. Alright, that's one line in and about a dozen to go. Alright, well we're up in the triple digits today, and we've got a heat advisory, and from like 3 to 6 o'clock the sun is just too much. So rather than trying to power through it and get sick, we just took a quick break, Family went down to the creek, cooled off for a little while, and now we're ready to get back out here and see if we can't finish up a couple more runs and put the beginning of this on and give it a test tonight. So let's get back to it. Alright, so with the drip lines installed, the next thing I need to do is work on the beginning of this line, and I've got to adapt it over to the filter, the pressure reducer, and be able to hook it up to the hose. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a hose adapter onto the end of the main trunk line. And to do that, you just push it over the hard line and then screw the adapter back. Then we're going to put the inline filter on that I showed you earlier. And then we're going to put the pressure reducer to reduce it from 50 psi down to 15. And now this is ready for the garden hose to hook onto that, and we can test the lines out. So let me go ahead and run some hose down here and we'll give this thing a test. Okay, so the bulk of the system is in. I still need to run 2 drip lines down the zipper cream peas and another one down the zucchini and squash row. But overall, all of it's in. I'll come out and I'll put a few more stakes to hold things in place, but for now the system is ready to be used, and I've got it turned on and we're actually watering the garden, but it's nice and quiet. You don't hear anything. The emitters or the drip tape that I bought is an emitter every 12 inches, and the emitters are 0.33. I'm not certain if that's a size of it or if that is a rating on it. I'd have to go back and look it up. That may be 1/3 of a gallon per emitter per hour. I don't really remember. But at any rate, it's a very slow flow, so I can have this sitting on and just let it run real slow, and everything soaks into the ground. The mulch is going to do a really good job of holding that moisture in and giving the plants a chance to be able to take that moisture up and use it. So let me take you over and show you what the emitter looks like while it's running, and you can kind of get an idea of how much water is coming out of these things. Alright, so that's it for today. The system is basically installed. There's a few dress up things, like I said, that I'll do. I'll go back and add some more pins and a couple more lines of drip tape. But the bulk of it's done. I do need to get a faucet over here and get that ran up to the main well. But for now I just have to extend a water hose down here to hook it up. And that works, so we're not going to fuss too much about that, and we'll just use what we have for now, and eventually we'll get a faucet put in and hook it in permanently. We'll also add in a timer probably before very long, so the system will cut itself on and off at night, and should be a pretty hands-off system at that point. So till next time, y'all keep checking back.